Hey guys, it's me, Ezel, back at Vanguard, as in the Vanity weekly reviews. If you guys enjoyed, don't like, comment, subscribe, and sorry. So this time we have a lot more reviews to cover this week, so we have some more Continent World reveals, but we have a lot of Magic World reveals with Tetsuya, who honestly is pretty interesting and was actually one of my favorite characters from Season 1 of Buddy Fight just because of his personality, and also just a lot of like generic reveals in general, so let's try and see what we got. First today we have Demon Wave Bloodsucking Bird, grade 0, it's a trigger order spell, it's a heal trigger for Continent World. Order ability, you put it face down as a gauge, and then you get an additional gauge, so basically charge 2 gauge, or its other abilities during the guard deck, if you're during your opponent's turn, can be called as a trigger unit that has a 15k shield. Honestly, not bad. It's either a free gauge charge 2 or it's 15k shield. Solid card to have as like a, as your heal trigger of choice for Continent World. Moving on, we have Knight of Integrity Rollfoot, grade 3, 10% 30k base. So auto rear guard, when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if all of your units are rested, Soulboss when he gets 10,000 power for the battle. So pretty solid that like he has that, like basically you attack with him last skill and then he's automatically a 23k swinger. Possibly with any booster, he could be a 31k swing. I mean, bare minimum with the trigger, he might be 27 if he boosts on like Pro Beer Alpac. All around though, very good that he'll always pretty much be swinging for plus 10k power as long as he's the last one to attack and you have a soul extra. Not a bad grade 3, but I wouldn't put him more than a 2 if you choose to run it. Moving on, we have Secure Dressing Angel, Great on Boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when placed on guard circle. If it's the third battle of that turn, it gets 10,000 shield for the battle. Again, I don't know why Bushy's making a lot of these like third battle specific shields. Like, yes, every deck has access to the third battle. Why specifically the third, I would never understand, but okay, sure, you do you. I guess it's because, like, ideally, your Vanguard would either swing first or second, depending on what deck you're playing specifically, unless you have a very specific hand. Then your drive checks, and then your drive checks would go to the unit of the third battle, and that's typically what the extra 10k shield would be for, which I guess I kind of see, but I still don't agree with it. Either way, though, it's a 2 if you want to run it. Moving on, we have Kia Solomon First Volume, our first Magic World card, so it's a grade 0 front trigger order. Order ability, gain 2 gauges, or other ability during the guard step during your opponent's turn, it can be called a trigger that has 15,000 shield. So either 15k shield or free charge 2. I feel like Bloodsucking Bird's better because Bloodsucking Bird decks you out by 1 less card. So, Bloodsucking Bird, it charges itself and then it gets you 1 more gauge from the deck, while Kia Solomon First Volume gets you specifically 2 gauges from the deck, so you have a higher chance of decking out. I mean, it's still a pretty good quality card, so I'm going to give it the 4 of. Moving on, we have Kia Solomon Second Volume. These are my 2 favorite cards to see Tetsuya play in the anime, and I always wanted them for a Magic World deck, but I never picked them up because at the time it was too expensive, and then Buddy Fight eventually died, so it wasn't worth picking up. Anyways, grade 0 draw trigger order. Order ability played if you have played Kia Solomon First Volume this turn. For the record, Magic World can play multiple orders at once a turn. Counter charge 1. So if you played the other order to gauge 2 cards, you get an extra counter charge. And it can be called as a 5k shield trigger unit during the guard step if you played on guard circle. So not bad. 5k shield gets you a counter charge for literally no restriction whatsoever outside of just play this. So a free counter charge every turn, not bad. Moving on, we have Street Racer Eligoth. So, grade 1 boost, 0 still, 6k base, continues central for Sentinels in deck, also playing guard circle, choose one meets, it cannot be hit in the bottom, stream more cards in it, choose a card from hand and discard it. So, it's a standard PG, it's also 72 pillars, so it's proof that it's Tetsuya's deck. Tetsuya's deck is interesting, to say the least. Like, I remember Tetsuya's deck being, they had a lot of size 2s, or in this case, it would be grade 2s, and then it turned them all into 1s, which they could have done in an interesting way, and they kind of did and kind of didn't, but we'll get to that when we get to his deck. Anyways, Brave Shooter, Decisive Action, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto place on rear guard circle, just the top card. If you discard a trigger, you can choose one of your units to get 5,000 power for the turn. So, I mean, not bad. It gives someone 5k and it's on place from anywhere, so it could help you, fill up your drop zone a little bit faster, but I wouldn't ward it more of like a 1 of or 2 of tech, and specifically in decks like Belger, who want to fill up the drop zone as fast as possible. Moving on, we have Maritime Assault. So, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. The only nation that this card would even be appropriate for, the thing we literally covered less than a minute ago. Auto and put on guard circle. If it's our battle that turn, it gets 10,000 shield for the battle. Not bad. And again, that's really supposed to be how it is, where like the triggers go to the third battle unit, and then the third battle unit attacks are like really big numbers. Then fair enough that the 10k shield offsets it, but even only offsets it by 1 trigger, so double triggers doesn't really fix the problem. But it's not a bad grade 1. I just question Bushy's logic with it, but whatever. Moving on, we have actually a Magic World deck. So Magic World, grade 0 boost, 0 power, auto Vanguard. When you stand up the Vanguard, say raise the flag, and you become a buddy fighter. When you become a buddy fighter, put a buddy monster from your right deck into your order zone. Continues, you have to put 1 flag card in your deck. Continues Vanguard or order zone. This card is unaffected by all the abilities and effects. And when you ride or play cards by the ability of your buddy fight, if it's a Magic World generic card, you can ride or call and play that ability instead. So first up is our starter, or not our starter, our grade 1 in Aibo Academy Tetsuya Kurodake. I'm kind of disappointed because I checked Tetsuya's flavor text, or like all the flavor text of the cards. They might be references to the sub and maybe one line that was loose in the dub, but I really thought like they would, like, they kept his yo thing. I know the grade 3 has it, but I really was hoping that they would do his, in my opinion, my favorite line from the dub, which was, if we all dance together, we can't lose. If we all dance together, we can't lose. Because I remember him doing that against Davida when, and spoilers if you haven't watched it, when Zanya, Gao, and Baku were all like arguing towards the end of season 1 because they didn't know how to include Jackknife into Gao's deck, and it was a whole other bunch of problems. But just saying, really cool. Wish they would have done that. Anyways, Tetsuya Kurodake, auto and Rotopon by Dance Contest Victor Tetsuya Kurodake to the top 5 for either one order card or 72 pose without Sentinel, reveal it per to hand, show over deck. So it gets you either an order or a 72 pose card. Not a bad card at all. And the reason why I like Tetsuya a lot is because A, he has a jacket. For those who don't know, I wear a jacket pretty much everywhere, or I used to. I just like his dancer vibe, and he was like a really cool dude and just chill. And I'm kind of sad that after season 2 he didn't really appear much. Like, he appeared every season and then had a match in every season except for Ace, but he became less relevant. I would have preferred like how he was in season 2, where he wasn't getting involved in every match, but he was a constant presence in the show. Anyways, Dance Contest Victor Tetsuya Kurodake, grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base, auto upon by a grade 3 card Tetsuya in the card, check the top 7 for up to 272 Poe cards without Sentinel, reveal them, choose one of the revealed cards, put it to hand, and discard the remaining revealed cards. So cool, get you a card to hand, get you a card to drop zone, which is nice. Then we have wants the whole world to join in the craze, Tetsuya Kurodake. So you can see the yo blatantly in his text. So 3 skills, which are very nice to go over. Continuous Vanguard. Each turn you can play 2 orders, and you cannot play an order the same name as an order you played this turn. Pretty much what that means is you cannot play, say for example, 2 Key of Solomon first volume in the same turn, but you can play Key of Solomon's first volume, then Key of Solomon's second volume right after it. So pretty much every turn you want to have greater access to 2 orders. That may seem hard, but Tetsuya's other skills, although when placed on Vanguard Circle during any point by any means, so normal ride, whether it's on top of the grade 2 or just on top of another grade 3, it's up to one of either a normal order or set order from the drop zone and bounce it to hand. So pretty cool that he can always recycle orders and just play an order with the same, like, each turn, and it works during both players' turns. So both players' turns, you can play Blitz order. Both players' or 2 Blitz orders. Both players' turns, you can play 2 normal orders. If you find a way to play it during your opponent's turn, the same thing goes to set order. So pretty solid. So it works really well defensively and really well consistently. You just have to figure out how you want to balance your orders. As for his last ability, Great Spell Saturday Night Devil Fever, the Fever as they called it, and I want to say it was Buddy Fight episode 21. It was when they were on the ship right before Kiri got kidnapped. Anyways, Auto Vanguard, when this suit attacks on anything, counterblast will to 1 grade 1 less NDT pose without Sentinel from the drop zone, called to rearguard circle. Air pose Vanguard's a grade 3 guard. This cost may be paid by counterblast 1 to put 272 poses without Sentinel from the drop zone bottom of the deck. And if you do, choose 2 cards instead of 1 and call them to rearguard circle. Okay, I get it. I do understand that this gets you basically at least 4 attacks guarantee, but possibly 5. My thing is, I wish this replicated Saturday Night Devil Fever a little bit better, because if I remember Saturday Night Devil Fever correctly, it could call up to 372 pillars. So I feel like they could have afforded to make this just call 3 unit, especially because either way, like specifically for the second ability, or for like the second half, because either way, you're only going to get 5 attacks at most, but at least one of them you're having an extra booster, but it is what it is. He calls 2 rear guards. It's not bad. It only does it for 1 CB or possibly CB bot deck 2 cards, and he bounces back in order literally every single time you ride him, and every single turn you can play 2 orders, so not a bad grade 3 to have. Moving on, we have Noisy Dance Room. This had so much potential and could have been Solomon's Great Barrier, especially considering the next card we're about to go over, but whatever. Grade 3, set order, continuous order zone. If you have Vanguard, that's a grade 3 grade Tetsuya in the card name. All your front with 72 pose get intercepting plus 5,000 power, act on previous turns. So again, 72 pose, whole purpose is to make a bunch of like size 1s and then flood the board with them. This would be your way to turn those size 1s that, you know, Tetsuya calls into basically grade 2s or grade 3 power bases with the ability to intercept. Not bad. Then act order zone, once per turn, pay a gauge, choose a 72 pose on your rearguard circle, bounce it to hand. So far, we have not ran into any cards that cost gauge. Demon Well, Architect Gamajin. Grade 1 boost, 5k show deck, base. Auto and place on rearguard circle, pay a gauge to search your deck for 1 set order, reveal per to hand, shuffle your deck. Again, still very cheap, especially because we have a card that literally gives you 2 gauge for free, but cool. Cost a gauge, get you your set order, which can therefore keep calling out 72 pose from, or bounce 72 pose on the rearguard back to the hand, and gives all your 72 pose on the front row 5k intercept. Moving on, we have Let's Play Osmodai. So during the second season, Osmodai got a bunch of different forms for whatever reason. I think it was them trying to hint that Osmodai had the ability to be an Omni Lord because they did it in season 1, multiple times they hint at that, mind you, but I guess in season 2 they just chose it because why not? And it was great on boost 5, shoot AK base. Auto and place on rear guard circle, choose to 1 card lost mode and card name for drop zone, charge a gauge, so get you a free gauge, is pretty solid, and then auto and intercept your vanguards and Tetsuya gets 5,000 shield for the battle. So cool, 10k shield, it also gets you a free gauge, works really well. The old Let's Play House mode allowed you to heal life, but obviously you kind of can't do that in Vanguard fairly, so valid that it gets you resources instead and still is a good 10k shield, so not a bad grade 1, solid like 2 over 3 depending on how many orders you want to run because you can revive them from drop zone. Moving on, we have Demon Lord Osmodai. So, great on boost, fat cash shield, AK base. Auto and place on rear guard circle. CB1, perform one of the following. Either choose one of your opponent's circles and retire all rear guards on that circle, or search out for 172 pillar order card, build to hand, show your deck. So, grab literally any 72 pillar cards you want, whether it's a trigger, a, what's it called? I'm blanking on name. Set order, normal order, blitz order, literally whatever 72 pillar cards you want that's an order, or mark a circle. Specifically a circle. So, if a card says it cannot be chosen by card abilities. So that's, for example, Trickstar. It's still affected by card abilities, and therefore, because you're targeting the circle, it bypasses how things like the Destiny and Chaos got around it, or not Chaos, but like the Destiny, and there was one other card towards that time span that got around things like Chaos Unlock. Then, auto rear guard, when this attacks into a grade 3 guard unit, if your vanguard's a grade 3 guard Tetsuya, it gets 5,000 power for the battle. Then, if on your rear guard has a second Omni Demon Lord Osmodai, it gets 10,000 instead. Who's the second Omni Demon Lord Osmodai? This boy. I do wish that they allowed him to be used in all nations. Maybe that's what this text says. I honestly can't tell what that text says. But his call cost, that's his call cost, never mind. His call cost is pay 2 gauge. He has a very interesting ability which replicates his, what's it called, buddy fight ability. Continues rear guard. You cannot call units with the same name as this card, and you basically only have 1 copy of it on board. And if you have a grade 3 good Vanguard Tetsuya in the card, and he gets plus 10,000 power, so 23k base during both players' turns. I'll leave that second ability up for last. So then the third ability is continues rear guard during your opponent's turn. This unit would leave the rear guard circle by any means. Bounce, bot deck, bind, send to drop zone, be moved to drop zone via this thing's ability, etc. You may ditch a hand card. If you do, leave it on the board. It has double attack, so auto once per turn at the end by the attack. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater that's standing, CB1 to stand him so he can attack twice. And then auto rear guard, and then about this unit is attacked by rear guard, retire the unit that attacked it. So basically it had the ability called counterattack back in the OG where it can merch shit. So there you go, it maintains that. And the reason why this is important is because auto rear guard. When this unit leaves the rear guard position, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone, face up. So, regardless of what damage you're at, say for example, you're at 5. If your opponent bypasses your guarding and mercs this via something like Eugene, you lose on the spot, because it puts the card into the damage zone, so it doesn't even activate trigger attack. So even if you flip over the or the heal trigger, still die. Cool. On the bright side though, 23k base, regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at, as long as you're at a grade 3 Tetsuya, has the ability to keep himself on the board for only a discard, not to mention the fact that he can double attack for only a simple CB, and so far the only other card we've seen cost CB are Osmodai himself and Tetsuya, and that's it. Not to mention the fact that we have a counter charger, and it also kills anything that tries to ring into it that's a rear guard. Easy 4 of. Moving on, we have Art of Body Duplication Osmodai, grade 1 boost, Fat Cashiota, aka base, act rear guard, retire, choose a card, Osmodai is a different card from your drop zone, grade less equal to your Vanguard from the drop zone, call it to rear guard circle, so basically recycle this thing. Then Mind of Hardcore, play this card if you have 2 or more 72 pillar rear guards, choose up to 3 72 pillars from your drop zone, put them face down as gauges, so possibility to get you 3 gauges, which is really good, get you great amount of resource for very cheap and almost no requirement at all, so great card there. And we have Devil Advantage, so pay a gauge to play it. Choose 2 72 pillar normies from your drop zone without Sentinel, and if you do choose 2 cards, you put them into your hand. So pretty much bounce 2 cards from your drop zone back to hand. Again, pretty solid for recycling. And Tetsuya allows you to use literally, like I said, every turn you get to play 2 ores, you just can't use the same one twice. Then Solomon Shield, a blitz order, continue a set of 4 sentinels in the deck and play it by discarding a card from your hand. Choose on reads, it cannot be hit in the battle. If you do choose a normal order from your drop zone, bounce it back to your hand and then remove this card. So pretty much it replaces itself with a normal order, which is really good for setting you up on the following turn, still acting as a PG. I wouldn't say full replace it for Eligots, but honestly it's still worth replacing it because, you know, again, Tetsuya allows you to use multiple of it. And I really do love his art here where it's just Tetsuya doing like a path back with the Solomon Shield. Then we have Diabolical Hardcore, which sucks that you can only play 1 impact per fight, because Tetsuya's whole bit was or at least with this was an impact card that didn't require your opponent to have a life cost, so you pretty much could play it as much as you want, and Tetsuya, at least during the early season in one very specific fight that, man, kind of deserved the win, but then also got clapped in the best way possible, involved him spamming Diabolical Hardcore 3 times, so take that as you will. Anyways, continues, you cannot play this card, and if you have used this ability and you not resolve the ability of an impact card, order this fight. So auto hand at the end of your turn. If your opponent has 4 or less cards in the damage zone, and you have 3 or more 72 pillar rear guards, ditch it, pay 3 gauge, declare final phase, choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and deal 1 damage to it. So the upside to this is that is a free bop damage. The downside to this is your opponent has to have 4 or less damage. They could have rectified this by making it your opponent has to be at, or like your opponent can be at 5. But to be fair, this thing exists. But also, to be fair, this thing can lose you the game on the spot. So I feel like they could have balanced that out, but it is what it is. Moving on, we have a nice one. Probably one of the best and most iconic Magic World cards ever. Pay 1 gauge to play it, draw 2 cards. Literally Pot of Greed, except has a cost. Then we have Demon Dr. Bear, so grade 1 boost, if I can show deck base. Auto put on rearguard circle. You may put the top of your deck into your gauge. If you do at the end of the turn, it dies. So either don't charge a gauge and he stays on the board, or do charge a gauge and he kills himself. But again, we got Recyclers at the wazoo. Then Great Spells, Devils, Rock and Roll. Grade 2 normal order. Play it by paying 2 gauges. Check the top 5 cards of your deck. You have to 272 pose out Sentinel from them. Remove them, reveal it, put into your hand, shuffle your deck. It's any 272 pose cards. If you haven't been paying attention, almost this entire deck is 72 pillars, so fetches you pretty much anything you need for the cost of 2 gauge. Pretty solid. Moving on, we have Steam Performer Full Array, so grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base. Weirdly enough, the day after I bought my timestamp page actually got revealed. Auto when placed on rearguard circle by your card ability. If you have a Gear Dragon Vanguard and your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, CB1 choose a Dark Stage normal unit from your bind zone, bot deck it. Very clearly a timestamping card, because you can use this in Chrono Jet. Realistically, you're not going to, but you can. And if you do this, you get 5,000 power to end of turn for each grade of the card chosen by this cost. Just saying, Bushy, when DZ is about to end, because we know Deluxe is supposed to be the final arc, and if you write more, there's that one free set where you have every 2 main sets. So on that 3rd set, just saying, promo grade 3s are an option. Then we have Listening and Seeing Gear Elephant. Grade on boost, fat shield, AK base, auto plus on rearguard circle during battle phase. Set the top card and either put the top or put it into soul. So again, very weird that they're giving time-saving support now, and I specify this as time-saving support because it can work for Chrono Jet. I can't think of a single Dark States deck that would even proc this outside of timestamping, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this that and Barrow Magnus are the only ones. But even then, especially because this card can only be procced off by timestamping and Chrono Jet, but not even Chrono Jet and D can probably resolve it, specifically Chrono Jet and G or Premium. Then we have Unrestricted Sharp Edge, grade 1 boost factor, show to get base. Guess what this thing does? Auto put on guard, so throw it out of the turn, get sent out of shield, take that as you will. Moving on, Trio. So grade 0. Trigger order, play it. If its order ability is paid by the counterblast, choose a card without Sentinel from your drop zone called Rearguard Circle, so get literally any rearguard back for 1 CB. Or other abilities, it can be used as a 15k shield guardian during your opponent's turn. So cool, 15k shield or rearguard recycler. Then we have Bastion Caps. I don't even know what the hell this is supposed to reference. So play it by paying 2 gauges. Either choose your opponent's rear guards as grade 2 or greater and kill it, or other abilities can be used as a 15k guardian. So cool, Mercs off a rear guard or 15k shield. Not bad, like the card, go for it as your 4 of crit. Then we have Resonating Emotions Tier A. Grade 3, 10% 13k base. Continues rear guard circle. If your damage zone is 4 more cards, then it gets 10,000 shield and 10,000 power. Active for its turns. So once you hit limit break, you got your 23k base, 10k shield, grade 3 from Lyrical Monstero. Not bad. You wouldn't run this though unless you really need the defense power or unless you're planning on budget. So depending on your situation in that regard, 2 over 3 of. Then we have Please Use It If You Like Harina, grade 2 and a 5k show, 10k base. I love how she has a cute little rainbow in the background. Auto rear guard, or technically it's the foreground, because the last time I said background, people called me out for that. Auto rear guard, when you play normal order, put it to soul, choose Marines, give 2 5,000 power until end of turn. So cool that procs when you play in normal order. My immediate thought went to Lutetia, because I can't think of another. No, the Trick or Treat deck, Kyoka's the magazine one. Like, there's a handful of Lyrical Monster decks in high side that can proc this. So, not a bad card. Only downside is it specifically requires a normal order. But again, Lyrical Monster has a lot of normal orders in general. So, you know, take that as well, 3 of. And then we have Demon Sommelier Zagon, who until I was like 16, because I was really innocent as a kid, I didn't realize what a sommelier was, and I just thought like Zagon just had water or like some like I had specifically grape juice in like his wine cup, and I never thought about it until I was 16. And it was great to SF Shield 10k base. Auto placed on rear guard circle. The next time you play an order, reduce its cost by 1 gauge. So yeah, all these orders that are kind of high cost, you can play for cheaper, which doesn't matter because only like 1 or 2 of them actually cost gauges. The rest of them are more or less free in some way, shape, or form, or they're all really cheap anyway. So cool that it makes them free or at least cost cheaper. Then we have Chillax, which is now reminding me of Boone from Penn Zero Part-Time Hero, one of my favorite shows as a kid, who sang the song "Everybody Chillax, We'll Grab Snacks, Let the Worries Roll Off Your Back." Why am I not remembering Boone after I see his voice actor for like the first time in years? I will never understand. Anyways, Grade 0, Chillax Heal Trigger. During the guards of the opponent's turns, a 15k shield, or auto put on a guard circle, pay a gauge, and you, the player, get when your unit is attacked, that unit gets 5,000 power to end of battle, and use the ability until end of turn. So randomly, when your opponent attacks you again, you can pay that gauge and give your Vanguard or whoever's being attacked plus 5,000 power. Not bad. Cool order. 4 for your heal. Then we have Jaguar and Metarari, Great on Boost, Fat Shield, AK base. I love how he's just a lightning gunner. So overcharge, auto rear guard, this unit boost. If this unit was chosen by the ability of your Great 3 Guard Vanguard, equally burn the card in this turn. Choose enemies to get 5,000 power of the turn. Okay, out of all of the overcharge abilities, this one kind of sucks. Like, yes, there are restanders, so I mean, you could give it to the restander, but it drops your numbers by so much because all of the other ones pretty much have a base power of 23,000 if they're chosen by Equilibrium. Well, this thing would have technically have 18,000 if it gave the 5k to itself. So, not a bad grade 1, but yeah, you want to run as maybe a one-of tech for very specific situations.
And on to our last reveal for today. First up, we have our Buddy Fight Flag Parade of 100 Demons. So the standard auto when you stand up, say raise the flag and you become a Buddy Fighter. Then continuous Vanguard or Order Zone. This card is unaffected by all of the abilities and effects. And when you write or call or play a card that was only a Buddy Fight, if it is a Parade of 100 Demons card or it's a generic, you can, if it or has the 100 Demons race, which you can tell by this little mark in the top corner, you can write or call or play that ability. So first up is our grade 1 and leader of the 100 Demons, Ikazuchi, whose flavor text is the most iconic line from 100 more or less, which is Power of Darkness, Power of Evil, Power of the 100 Demons. So Great on Boost, Fat Shield, AK base, auto when placed by riding from Parade of 100 Demons, so we have an active ride line, meaning, you know, they all activate when placed. To the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from them and put it to drop zone, shuffle your deck. So pretty solid that it just sends any card from the top 7 to drop zone, so it kind of sets up your drop zone immediately and deck lens for you for free. Then we have Superhuman Might Ikazuchi, Great turn set 5k shield, 10k base, auto placed by riding from leader of the 100 Demons, Ikazuchi, to the top 5 to up to 1 card Thundermine ability from Mother Real, put it to hand, shuffle your deck. So Ikazuchi's whole deck in the anime was Thundermine, which was a quote-unquote controlling tactic where every time your opponent did it in a specific action with certain cards on your board, you do them a bop damage. Obviously, that would be broken in this game because you die at 6, so being able to consistently do bop damage would be beyond busted, but whatever. Then we have Lightning of Beginnings, Thunder of the End, Ikazuchi. I know it would have been long, but I wish they would have put his full name because how it actually was, I believe it was, I am the lightning that begins all things. I am the thunderclap that ends them all. I am Ikazuchi. Anyways, active Vanguard once per turn. CB1, choose up to 2 non-sentinel 100 demon unit cards without Yamageto and their different cards from drop zone. Call to rearguard circle. So the constant trend between all of the 100 demons so far is that a lot of them actually do call them back. So even if your opponent's playing a board new deck, there's at least 3 cards already in like this entire set of 18 cards we're about to go over that allows you to call them back. So that's just 3 free rearguards. Anyway, second skill is 100 Demon Source Evil Pulse. Act Vanguard once per turn, pay a gauge, and choose opponent's rearguard mark it. So, literally, once per turn, every gauge where you get, just pay 1, mark off a rearguard, and then CB1, call back 2. Not bad. Then we have Thunderclaw Narukami, grade 3, arms, normal order, item, Vanguard. After being played, the Vanguard is armed with. If a new item is armed, put the card to drop zone. Continues, it can be played from the drop zone, so discard fodder, and this is also where you can send a drop zone via off your grade 1. Continues Vanguard, during your turn, all your farmings get 5,000 power, solid, procs of either player's at grade 2, and then act Vanguard once per turn, choose one of your rear guards. If you chose the unit, retire it, and your Vanguard is an extra crit for the turn. So, your Vanguard can already recall rear guards for a simple CB. This can kill off one of them to get an extra critical, and everything else that remains in the front row gets 5,000 power. Not bad. Pretty good order, not gonna lie. Adds offensive pressure to the Vanguard, adds offensive pressure to pretty much everything else, and that's all I can pretty much say about it. Moving on, we have our instance of how Thundermine is going to be implemented into Vanguard. Purplish Green Dragon Paluda, grade 1 boost, Fat Shield, AK base. Thundermine auto rearguard once per turn when your opponent's grade 1 rearguard is placed. If you have a Vanguard Ikazuchi in its card name, that place unit loses 5,000 power for the turn. So that's how Thundermine is going to take place, where every unit with Thundermine makes one of your opponent's rearguards lose 5,000. That is obviously more balanced to take a damage. The only downside is like this ability is only proccable technically during your opponent's turn, or like it only matters during your opponent's turn, at least in D. And I mean, yeah, losing power is great for offensive pressure, but if your opponent has like a deck that superior calls or even multi-attacks and it gets any remote form of power, it doesn't do too much, but it's a nice like slowdown to the opponent, so not a bad like 2 over 3 of. Then we have Poisonous Water Dragon Zazamera, Grade 2 5k shield, tank base, Thundermine, auto rear guard. When your opponent's Grade 2 rear guard is placed, if you have Ikuzuchi in the card name, that place you lose 5,000 power for the turn. Again, it's great that all these proc off regardless of what grade your Vanguard is, as long as it's an Ikuzuchi. That way you can rush your opponent early and not feel too bad about it, because if they try to rush you back, they're going to lose power in the long run. So, not bad. And by the way, for all these Thundermine cards, I'll say 2 or 3 of them. And if you're wondering why these guys don't have technically a specific world, is because the whole reason with 100 Demons is they all came from different worlds, and they just all combined under the flag of Parade of 100 Demons, like a normal flag, not just like a world. Anyways, then we have Stranger Dilemma. So Great 1 boost, like I showed, AK base, Thundermine, auto rear guard once per turn. When your opponent plays a normal order, if you have Vanguard, the Ikuzuchi in the card, and choose opponent's rear guard, make you lose 5,000 power for the turn. So a little bit more free on who loses 5,000 power, because with Zaza, Mera, and Paluda, they can only pick the unit that was placed, but in this case you can pick any rear guard as long as your opponent plays a normal order. Downside is if your opponent's not playing normal orders, you get fucked over, so take that as you will. Moving on, we have Eliminator Glacier Ladlas, Grade 1 boost, Flag Kishio, AK base, Thundermine, auto rear guard once per turn. When your opponent's rear guard's power is reduced by your card's Thundermine ability, if your Vanguard has Ikuzuchi in the card name, that you lose another 5,000 power, then you can counterblast when I draw a card. So that's the exact same as the OG Glacier Ladlas would do. Whenever a Thundermine ability would activate, this card would activate basically the Thundermine again. The issue with this card is that the unit that already lost 5,000 power, 5,000 is typically enough, but okay, cool, it makes it lose another 5,000 power, and you can pay an extra CB to draw a card, so it's not bad. Then we have Ice Prison Emperor, Cocytus Greed, however you want to pronounce it. Grade 2 and stuff 5k shield, 10k base, auto plus on rear guard circuit. You may put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge face down. Active rear guard, pay 3 gauge, choose opponent's rear guard, mark it, and then auto rear guard when it attacks. If your Vanguard's a grade 3 greater, this unit gets 5,000 power for the battle. So 15k swing regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's, that's pretty solid. Pay 3 gauge, mark an opponent rear guard, so you have board control, and it gets you 2 gauges by being placed. Honestly, not a bad grade 2 at all, it kind of funds its own cost. Solid, like 2 of tech. Then we have Usher of Darkness Dustin, who I genuinely don't remember being an original 100 Demons, but whatever. Great chance to 5k shield, 10k base, pay a gauge to call it. Auto plus on rear guard circle, search your deck, drops an or face of damage for up to 100 Demon set order. Put it to order zone. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. If you put a card from your damage zone, put a card into your damage zone, face up. So pretty much either get an order from literally deck, drop zone, or damage. So anywhere that isn't the hand that you can't play immediately from, and put into your order zone. So that it gets you a free set, and because it's automatically putting into the order zone, that means you can play a second set order. Honestly, not that bad considering this deck does have like 3 different orders that wants to see the order zone, but you don't want to see too many of this. But having it as a 3 just for consistency's sake is pretty good. Then we have Starred Yamigeto, one of our first set orders. Grade 1, set orders play, put it to order zone. Literally no cost whatsoever. Continuous, you can only put 1 Starred Yamigeto into your order zone. Auto order zone, when this card is put into your order zone, your damage check reveals any card whatsoever, or your unit is retired from rear guard circle. Intercepting does not count towards this. To up to 100 damage from your drop zone, put it to your gauge face down. So, non-once per turn, literally every time one of those 3 things activate, get a gauge. Your opponent board nukes you against a deck that can respam its rear guards, get gauge. You just take damage, get gauge. You just simply put this into order zone, get gauge. Hell, this even procs off of this thing, so pretty solid there, not a bad order. I would say you can do 1 of because Dustin can search it, but I'll say 2 of just in case. Then we have 100 Demons Formation Thundermine Stance. So grade 1, set orders play to your order zone. Again, no cost or requirements whatever. Continues, you can only put 100 Demons Formation Thundermine Stance in your order zone. Act order zone once per turn, pay a gauge, choose up to 1 grade 2 or less card with Thundermine ability from your drop zone. Call to rear guard circle, and if your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, that unit gets 5,000 power. So again, pay a gauge, call a card, possibly give it 5k. So combine this with Ikuzuchi, you pay 1 CB, you pay 1 gauge, you automatically have the ability to call out 3 rear guards regardless of what grade the opponent's Vanguard's at, but if they're at grade 3, one of the called units will get 5,000 power. Honestly, Thundermine Stance, not bad. Get you rear guard positioning, all for 1 gauge cost, good 2 of. Then we have Shrine of the Corrupted Fujigami. Grade 1, set orders play, put your order zone. Again, you can only have 1 copy of it in the order zone. And auto order zone once per turn when your rear guard with Thundermine ability is placed, draw a card. And it's placed by any means, so superior call from drop zone, or just hard place from hand, or call from deck if they make one of those. Either way, free draw, not a bad card, very solid, very good for consistency, 2 of. Then we have Demonic Way of 100 Demons, Aiki Shoki. I honestly thought we weren't going to get normal orders. I thought because we got 3 set orders, we weren't going to get any form of normal order whatsoever. But this card can be played from drop zone, and you play it by paying a gauge. Bind this card, draw a card, structure after 1 unit card with Thundermine ability, discard it, and shuffle the deck. If your damage zone is at 3 more cards, draw a card. So basically, replace this card if you played it from hand with a draw, or just try to get a free draw. Then send something to drop zone, then possibly get an extra draw on top of it. Not bad. Get you hand cards, all for simple gauge cost, and it's a discard fodder as well, so I proc that up to a 2 of. Then we have Ghetto Shield, so it's our Blitz Order PG. Play it by discarding a card from your hand if your order zone has Parade of 100 Demons in it. Choose one of your units and it cannot be hit in the battle, and then remove this card and pay a gauge to choose one of your opponent's rear guards to lose 5,000 power for the turn. So make stuff lose 5,000 power, pretty solid. I wish this did its OG thing where it did a bop damage, and because that was one of my favorite things to do with Ghetto Shield, and I feel like they're going to balance it out by making it so your opponent has to be at 4 less damage, or hell, even 3 or less damage to nerf it. And I mean, it's a Blitz order, so you can only use it once per turn anyways, but okay, I wish it still had the bop ability, but making something lose 5,000 power isn't too bad. I just prefer it was the other one. Then we have a Hasted Evolution Yamigeto. Grade 0 boost 5k shield, 0 base. Thundermine auto rear guard will return when your opponent's grade 3 or greater Vanguard attacks. If Vanguard is an Ikazuchi, that unit loses 5,000 power to end a battle. So essentially, if you want to, you give up your 5k booster to turn into basically an extra 5k shield during your opponent's Vanguard attack specifically. And if you fill your back row with these, they all proc at the same time, meaning your opponent's Vanguard will lose 15,000 power if you have 3 of these. Not a bad grade 0, and it's definitely something worth using considering the fact that you can kill it off via Narukami and then just recall it via Ikazuchi skills, so you at least want 3 of it. I would say 4 of it just to see it more often, but take that as you will. And finally, we have Great Fiend Yamigeto. Grade 3 turns out Personality, 13k base. This really big demonic hellbeast. Pay 2 gauge and put 1 to 300 demon rear guards into its buddy solo by calling it. Altogether, continuous rear guard. This unit gets all the Thundermine abilities of this unit's buddy soul. So essentially, if you have Zazamera and 2 Paludas in soul, it can use Paluda's Thundermine twice, and it can use Zazamera's Thundermine once. Auto rear guard at the beginning of your main phase, choose a card Thundermine ability from your drop zone and put this card into this buddy soul, so more Thundermines. Then Thundermine auto rear guard once per turn when your unit's attack does not hit. If your Vanguard with Ikazuchi in the card name, choose an opponent's Vanguard, it loses 5,000 power for the turn. So pretty much, if you get your opponents to 5 damage, they're going to hate you. But at the same time, it's a hard once per turn. But if you find a second copy and you put it to soul via its drop zone or via its main phase ability, it's not that bad. Then double attack, auto rear guard once per turn. At the end of the battle, if you attack, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 greater that's standing, CB1 standard, so it can multi-attack. And so far, we've only seen one other card that costs CB, which is Ikazuchi, so pretty good cost efficiency. And then continuous soul guard if it would leave the rear guard, put a card from his buddy soul into the drop zone and make it stay on rear. Honestly, not bad. Fills up the soul very quickly. Its Thundermines can stack, which is fun. Its Thundermine screws over the opponent's Vanguard circle, and it gets you a free Thundermine and soul every single turn. I do like that. I feel like it could have been a non-once per turn with his Thundermine ability, but also to be fair, he has the Thundermine ability every other unit, so that's fair. They kind of buffed him a little bit, not gonna lie. And without further ado, this is for this one. I hope all of you guys enjoy. So in the next one, we'll actually finally be getting one who guides towards Paradise Non-Eclair, aka the thing that we think broke Stoicheia because they had to nerf Gather Upon Me, You Wandering Souls, and Nectar Sensationalism, and a really random card that literally no one has used since its debut back in the original D set 2 or 3, and we'll also get the third missions as well. So I'll see you all then. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one to set up your Vanguards.